What is the New York City Multiple Listing Service? Is there an official New York City Multiple Listing Service that all of the city's brokers use? Is it possible for a New York City FSBO seller in New York City to pay to get his or her home listed on the MLS through a flat fee MLS listing package? There is much confusion on this topic as most regions of the country and even most counties in New York State are serviced by one local multiple listing service. But this is not the case for New York City. In this Hauseit tutorial, we explain exactly in which broker database New York City FSBO seller should list their property. We also explain how New York City FSBO sellers can get listed in the right broker database and avoid many misleading online flat fee MLS packages which won't result in full buyer's exposure. So, what MLS or broker database do agents use in New York City? Believe it or not, New York City does not have one widely used MLS like in the rest of the country. While the city does not have a dominant multiple listing services like most regions of the United States, it certainly have a small foothold by the National Association of Realtors, called the Manhattan MLS, which is operated by the Manhattan Association of Realtors. The multiple listing service is a term for an inter-broker database operated by a local trade organization affiliated with NAR, such as the Manhattan MLS. However, because the vast majority of New York City brokerages do not belong to the National Association of Realtors or the Manhattan MLS, it's not very effective to have your property listed on the Manhattan MLS. Instead, most New York City brokerages are members of the Real Estate Board of New York. REBNY is a private real estate trade association based in Manhattan. REBNY operates an inter-brokerage database called RLS, which functions much the same as New York City Multiple Listing Service. Therefore, the most effective way for a FSBO seller in New York City to market his or her listing to the New York City buyer's agent is to list it in REBNY's RLS database and not the actual New York City Multiple Listing Service. How do I get listed on RLS as a New York City FSBO seller? The first thing a potential New York City FSBO home seller needs to do is to step back and evaluate the packages being offered by various for sale by owner websites in New York City. What MLS will they list you on? What real estate websites will your listing be posted on? All the large, national for sale by owner websites who pay tens of thousands of dollars per month on Google AdWords will promise you to list your home on your local MLS. But as we said, New York City does not have a traditional multiple listing service. So what exactly are these services promising you by saying that they will list you on local MLS? Without further investigation, you would have ended up paying for a listing in some irrelevant MLS such as the New York State MLS, the Long Island MLS, or some other brokerage database that virtually no New York City brokers actually use. The most infuriating things about most of these misleading flat fee New York City MLS packages is that they often cost upward of $1,000 and won't even list you on the most relevant paid local search website for unrepresented buyers like StreetEasy. You end up paying up to $1,000 for an incoherent package of listing on a free website such as Zillow, Trulia, and Homes.com. What's more, 90% of the website they offer to list you on receive no relevant traffic for a New York City home seller. Either it receives no traffic period or is completely irrelevant to New York City. You could have listed yourself for a free on just the most popular websites like Zillow and Trulia without wasting $1,000. However, what you thought you were paying for was a New York City multiple listing service listing, so you could attract the 20,000 New York City brokers representing over 75% of New York City home buyers. What's worse, many of these large for sale by owner websites don't even bother to hide the fact that you are a FSBO listing. They openly watermark your photos and even put their website's URL in your listing descriptions, which only makes it easier for listing broker to target and solicit you for full commission service. In short, if you aren't careful when selecting your New York City flat fee MLS provider, you run the risk of being listed on the wrong MLS, missing out on key websites, and also being harassed by agents who don't have any real buyers for you. This may lower your New York City FSBO success rate and or decrease your sale price. So how can I ensure that my New York City FSBO listing is posted on the most relevant website and databases for New York City? As a New York City FSBO home seller who's willing to work with buyer's agent, it's critical that your home is listed on the RLS, REBNY listing service, and not just any other MLS like the New York State MLS or the Manhattan MLS. You must fully understand that there is no such thing as a real New York City multiple listing service before you decide on a New York City flat fee MLS listing provider. And make sure you investigate very clearly exactly what interbroker database they plan to list you on. Hauseit is a top-rated and locally focused New York City for sale by owner listing service who lists its New York City FSBO sellers on the most relevant websites and interbroker databases that actually matter in the New York City. For New York City FSBO home sellers, Hauseit ensures that its client homes are listed on the Rebni RLS broker database, as well as all of the technology vendors used by New York City brokerages which receive the RLS feed, such as SGO, RealityMX, RealPlus, and OLR.